Ben Stiller just got caught in 4K, and Hollywood is in total panic mode tonight. And at the center of this insane meltdown is none other than Ben Stiller. The internet is absolutely destroying Ben Stiller after one of the most jaw-dropping hypocrisy clips that we've seen in years. And the backlash just keeps getting worse by the hour. Woke Hollywood elites are scrambling for cover, and Ben Stiller is learning the hard way that you can't outspin the wrath of the internet. What Ben Stiller just got caught doing on the streets of New York is so perfectly on brand for these out-of-touch celebrities that it's become the most talked about Hollywood hypocrisy clip of the week. So we got this clip right here of Ben Stiller going into the place where he talks about, you know, well, basically he's going into the garden, it looks like the Madison Square Garden, but he's put on a campaign to help the homeless and everything, or to try to have the New Yorkers to help the city with homeless count and stuff. So this video right here is circulating around X, showing Hollywood multimillionaire Ben Stiller strolling through New York on his way to the Knicks game, waving, shaking hands with the fan and soaking in the attention, living his best courtside life, basically. And right there, slumped over on the sidewalk, just a few feet away, is a homeless man. The whole world can actually see. Everyone in the frame can see him. Everyone watching at home can see him. The man just kept walking, smiling for the fan, eyes forward as if the sidewalk was empty. And this is brutal because this is the guy, Ben Stiller, who literally lent his name and his voice to New York City homeless campaign and stuff. And the pitch was just simple and emotional. And you're enjoying a home right at home right now because thousands of others can't. And you're able to help. It ran, people saw it, it became the face of do something about the homeless and stuff. But so when that same face walks past the man and stuff, that's where he has the opportunity to do something, people saw it and he became the face of that. And when he did something, and when he just walked past the man on the ground without so much as a glance, the contrast writes itself. So here's another clip of it.
Individuals. We'll offer resources to help them move to a more stable, safe environment. Bring a friend. Honestly, what's your friend doing that's so important? We can make a difference together. Are you enjoying a home right now?
So yes, we know that millions of, New Yorkers walk past people on the streets every single day, and the cameras follow exactly one of them, a celebrity who spent years lecturing everyone else to stop and care. Now the campaign, the PSA, the mural finger wagging, the guilt aimed at regular working people all land very differently once the man doing the whacking just simply keeps walking. And you earn the right to lecture by, living it. And that footage shows the opposite of living it. And the internet did what it always does. The community notes came out swinging and stuff, where the one quote tweets that were brutal, and people started clipping the old campaign next to the sidewalk footage and just simply started running to them side by side and stuff. And then once that comparison is split on screen, the spin runs out of road, and every reply guy basically in America turned into a media critic overnight. And they had a point. When your PSA becomes the single most devastating piece of evidence against you, that narrative is always gone. It also sounds familiar because we watched the same thing play out and stuff with other celebrities like Billie Eilish, where she stood on stage at the Grammys, wore a pin, declares no one is illegal on stolen land, got an applause, and then people out there point out that she's sitting on the Native Americans pointing it out to her that, hey, you're on our land and stuff also. So that's our stolen land too. And she didn't get an applause and stuff. I mean, the principle certainly gets a lot more flexible, and the principle is for you, but the exemption is for them. And the audience is finally catching on to that lecture, and the lifestyle never actually match. Okay. So basically Ben Stiller got here's what makes the Ben Stiller version of this so striking. You see, Ben Stiller actually, spent years as the New York homeless pitchman, and Ben Stiller also built a high-profile public role as an activist on refugees and displacement on the global stage. And even Ben Stiller wrapped an entire persona around caring about the most vulnerable people on earth across multiple continents with cameras rolling, wink, wink, and one quiet, unscripted moment where Ben Stiller doing nothing on the sidewalk says more than 100 polished campaign videos ever could. And he's got plenty of company in this club. If you look at Lewis Hamilton here, a guy worth somewhere north of $500 million, telling the world there should be a limit on how much wealth a person can hold, that nobody should have billions. Meanwhile, he's dating Kim Kardashian, whose net worth is reportedly pushing toward $2 billion, and Hamilton himself lives in Monaco, one of the most famous tax havens on the planet. There should be a limit on wealth, says the multimillionaire in a tax shelter that's dating, the billionaire. You really can't make this stuff up. Here's an
one of the things that I'm like, I struggle with every day is, and it's just how life is, and it's been the way for thousands of years, that there is such a disparity between wealthy and the poor. And, you still, when you drive around LA, there's still so many people living on the streets. You shouldn't be able to have billions, right? I think there should be a limit to how much you can have, because there's enough to go around to everyone. So somehow creating a law that creates more equality.
First and foremost, you can't no, you don't have the right to determine how much money people should or shouldn't have and everything. I mean, if that's the case, why don't you go ahead and step off your soapbox and stuff off your stupor, and then go ahead and apply that same thing to yourself, because you almost there to $1 billion and stuff. You also tell that to your girlfriend who's almost to $2 billion and see how that's gonna go. Okay, but yeah, this is the exact same pattern Ben Stiller just walked straight into, and Ben Stiller simply represents the very same people and stuff, a whole class of celebrity and stuff who just basically figured out that you can buy enormous moral credit by saying the right words at the right galas. And the thing Ben Stiller and the rest of them just keep forgetting is that the cameras roll on the sidewalk just as easily as they roll at a fundraiser. And now on the sidewalk is where Ben Stiller showed the country who he is when he thinks nobody's keeping score. And the people are just done with it. Now, for years, the deal was that you took your moral instruction from the people who live in the gated communities, fly private jets, and have never once worried about rent. They tell you to drive less while they keep quiet. They tell you to care about the homeless while they step over the homeless themselves. Now, in all reality, that trust is gone and stuff, okay? And it's like, they don't understand the hardships. That trust is gone, and every one of these clips chips away a little more at the idea that their word is gospel. So it even bleeds into politics, where you got new crowds running in New York telling everyone the real crisis is Islamophobia, okay? While regular people look at the actual streets, the actual sidewalks, and the actual guys slumped over outside the arena and ask whether they're even, watching the same city. The gap between, what these different elites say the problem is that is and what people see with their own eyes has never been wider. And the more they lecture, the wider that particular gap gets, okay? So Hollywood does not want to sit with, the truth. The virtue signaling has always worked as a substitute for virtue. The campaign video, the award show speech, the pin on the lapel, a way to purchase the reputation of a good person while, skipping the cost of being one. And the moment a candid camera catches the gap between the performance and the behavior, the whole arrangement collapses. So, yeah, Ben Stiller is not going to apologize his way out of this one, and Ben Stiller almost certainly knows it. You see, another thing that Ben Stiller should know is that Ben Stiller himself can delete, mute, and lock down his replies all he wants, but the clip is already out and the clip is forever. So the smartest move for Ben Stiller himself to make is to say nothing and hope the algorithm moves on. But every word out of Ben Stiller or his actions and stuff right now just feeds more oxygen to the fire that's already burning. So as usual, let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next one. Until then, peace.